through the years, you know, seeing police do stuff, man, they always do what they can to just bury people. I've seen several examples throughout my life where it's like they'll just add shit, you know, it's like 10 laws for one crime they broke, you know.
And that's what happened to these youth nowadays. But we got away in our days, now they get punished. Carjacking, they get life sentence. In our day, it was GTA. Uh, commit a murder in 71, 72 as a juvenile. You might get 3 years. Nowadays, you get tried as an adult. Get caught with a gun, 1020 gun law. Have a tattoo on you, 10 years. They get punished for everything that these guys didn't know what they were doing. They didn't even have the names for laws. So in that respect, these guys nowadays that out here committing these crimes, they're getting punished to the T for when we was getting spanked because they still believed in rehabilitation until from 19 all the way up to 1975, and that's when they came in with the juvenile fitness hearing, to where youths are tried as an adult at a young age now. And you can Google that on the Supreme Court, and it'll write down exactly why that was implemented because of the behavior of brown and black youths in the Los Angeles and Compton and Long Beach areas during 1971 to 75. And that's when they implemented in 75.
Man, man. You mentioned you have a new book out.
Now, I have a book out called The New Slave Strip, Three Strikes You In, but it's still relevant today because it predicted mass incarceration and what's going on now. So the book is still relevant. I barely seldom talk about it, but it's a very good book. And we are starting to put it back, and also we're going into marketing. We have a shirt that say OG, Opportunity Giver in Old English, where we got it and being sponsored. We got another shirt that's coming out with Don't Set Trips, Set Trends. Instead of set tripping, why don't you set trends? So we got a lot of things coming out for the public to merchandise to create like when they wear red or blue. We're trying to create something when you say OG that stereotype doesn't come on there, and that a lot of guys out here are trying to give back, but unfortunately other people try to get the shine and they don't say nothing. They used to talking so much negativity. I don't get on here to talk negative about nobody. I just try to get up here to create a platform to help our people and to bring awareness to issues that otherwise would not get their fair shake in the public.
We talked about people being unfairly incarcerated. Tookie has, you know, I know a little bit about it. You know, I've read a little bit about it, and you know about him being falsely arrested and convicted of crimes and eventually getting the death penalty. You know, what are your thoughts on all that, on that situation?
Well, they ought to abolish the death penalty across the board because it's certainly not a deterrent. I promise you. I know quite a few guys on death row, and they ready to die as opposed to just living their life out every day. You never see them screaming and bucking like you do in the gangster movie, "Don't kill me." They don't do that. So I don't think the death penalty is warranted, period, particularly when you see so many guys that are getting exonerated from DNA, or later on in life the police are lying. But what do you do when somebody's life's been taken, then you find out that they've been corruption, false testimony, false witness, and everything else, the planting, the hiding, the evidence. Because usually they bury it so deep that it takes 30, 35 years till you can find it. The Rampal scandal, uh, uh, this boy named Wilson who did 28 years. You have a lot of them that get out from that. So they really need to abolish the death penalty because of the fact we know that police lie. There's no concrete proof that this person could be all the way guilty. And then if it come up that he's not guilty or some form of testimony was fraudulent, you got a man that done lost his life for nothing, and no money can you repay the brain back that life. But I know personally about Tookie. I know quite a few of the facts about him, but I quit talking about him. But I can tell you, One of the murders he admitted to, but the other ones, unless you really know, and people, oh, he did them, that's not how that went. It's not how that went. It's a whole lot more to that case than what they say. So in hindsight, Tookie, in fact, when Tookie that was on a Sunday, all his lawyers came down to Avenal State Prison and took my disposition, and I'm one of the other, it was three of us, the two that testified that they talked to Tookie and heard him say he admitted it. They were in high power with him, and I was the third one. So they erred in my disposition to where they should have gave him a stay because I had newly discovered evidence that should have at least gave him a stay until they heard my testimony about what happened in that case. So I think an innocent man was executed. Exculpatory evidence, newly discovered evidence, where usually when something's new that hasn't been brought up because it's been hid, usually they'll give you a stay until they hear the disposition from the person that are making the allegations of police misconduct. They usually will wait to get your disposition. But the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or whatever his name is, he erred, and he should have had granted him a stay because of newly discovered evidence that was hidden from his lawyer in his case.
Man. That's rough, man. The death penalty is just, especially when they got it like on and off. It's not really, they ain't got everything figured out with it. It's like 1 minute they want it, the next minute they don't. And like you said, there's always you're always seeing somebody come out of jail. Like some DNA, some bad witnesses, some bad cops. It seems like there's always something going on where it's like, there's probably going to be some innocent people that get killed.
Well, it is, but what happens is, unless it's a high-profile case, there's a lot of instances of people that file complaints. But we need a better oversight, committees that will make them think twice and overlook them as opposed to them being looked over by somebody that works for them. We need an independent police investigative unit that would conduct and keep profiles, the complaints filed, and respond to them. A lot of times you can file a complaint and they do not get heard, and your voice is not heard because who cares? But when it's a high-profile case to where somebody can sue the police or get damages, you'll hear about it. Then you'll see these high-profile lawyers and stuff coming to take the case. But what happened when these youths or somebody get killed or get framed by police? Like, I don't sit up here and say I got framed twice. I don't get my day in court. But I did 30-some years and didn't cry one day. But when we have complaints, who cares? Who cares? Nobody. And let me tell you, it's nothing. You can hear a lot of guys that say, I didn't get a fair trial. You hear that all the time. Oh, they erred, they didn't get it. But you very seldom hear somebody say, I was framed. It's a big difference. Guys don't go and do that in prison. They do their time, they do their crime. Because you go to talk about, oh man, I was framed, I didn't do this. Most of them going to tell you, man, I don't want to hear that shit. But amongst real convicts, not inmates, convicts, those are ones that go to prison, but you don't tell them what to do just because they're in there. Convicts do what police say. Inmates do what police say. Convicts do what they want. They don't work. You're not going to have them doing this slave. They don't care about none of that. None of that. It's a big difference between an inmate and a convict. And a convict never, ever, ever says he didn't do something unless more likely than not he didn't. Because usually the language going to be, hey, I didn't get a fair trial. They did this. They didn't let this. But very seldom you hear them say, I didn't do the crime. Very seldom.